Next little village is Halltown, named for the Hall family that were the original proprietors there. They operated for a long time, a grist mill. That family left in the early 1800s. The Yates and Bell families took the property over, and it has had some form of commercial operation there since that time. This is a church built by the African American community in Halltown. It's called the Halltown Memorial Chapel. Interesting thing, the chapel was constructed solely by men in the community, and they did so in the evenings. They did so on the weekends on ground that was purchased by them for the purpose of constructing this church. They referred to it as a union church, which meant that any denomination was welcome and permitted to use the building for religious services. That's what it looks like today. You can see it's pretty well grown. It has had some restoration, so it's in not bad shape, unlike the building next to it, which was a schoolhouse built. It's in pretty rough shape, but there are efforts, particularly by the Braxton family, to have it restored. This is, if you visited the area just to the west of Harpers Ferry, and especially when they talk about Stonewall Jackson's siege of Harpers Ferry just prior to the battle at Sharpsburg, Schoolhouse Ridge comes into play, and this is what remains of the schoolhouse that was located on that ridge. The schoolhouse was pretty badly razed during the Civil War and out of use pretty quickly after the war is over. This is a postcard of that schoolhouse that was taken after the Civil War. And this is roughly the location of where that building was originally. And you can see the school pointed out again. This is the 1852 S. Hal Brown map before the Civil War, and you can see the school is located there along property owned by the Lucas family. This is Harris's Tavern. These photographs were taken by Mrs. Mary Miller. She recorded a lot of buildings which no longer exist in Jefferson County in the 1930s and 1940s. Harris's Tavern was one of many taverns in the county. You find them spaced about 5 or 6 miles apart. That was estimated to be the distance that carts could travel in a half a day. They'd stop there, water their animals and themselves, and then go on their way to the next stop. And this is all that remains of Harris's Tavern. If you look closely next to that 4-square house on the left, there is a remains of the stone wall which was at the base of Harris's Tavern. Now, this is an early photograph of Halltown Paperboard Company. It's hard to see the men there, so it's not possible to identify who they are. But this photograph is taken in the 1880s when they're using a combination of wood pulp and straw to make cardboard. This is what it looks like today. Halltown Paperboard Company is the longest continuous company that operates in Jefferson County. It's operated since 1869. Now, I put this photograph in here not for any particular reason, except that this is Route 340 as it used to be. Now, this is at the top of the hill at Schoolhouse Ridge, and we're looking west down Route 340 towards Halltown. That's what it looks like today. Now, of course, today the dual lane 340 that connects Charlestown to Harpers Ferry is on the right side of the picture, but this is old Route 340. And this is what it looked like in February of 1952. February of 1952, early in the morning, a dynamite truck was headed to Maryland, and in that stretch of road recognized that they had a fire in the trailer of the truck. Apparently it was Of course, wintertime, there was ice on the road. They were using chains. Chain had broken, and sparks had ignited the fuel tank on the truck. So the two men in the truck exited and began to run to warn people of the fire and the potential for the explosion. Well, you can see the explosion there on the left. Left a crater 30 feet wide, 10 feet deep, and destroyed completely two houses. The one there on the right is the house that was rented by the Bates family, Billy Bates. And Billy Bates ran next door. You see his house in this photograph. See it on the left. He ran next door to warn his neighbor, and just at that time the explosion occurred and it killed Billy Bates. He was the only person killed in the explosion, but there were two women, including his wife, who were grievously damaged and who were taken to the hospital but eventually recovered from their injury. This is what it looks like today. This is Homeland Security just outside of Halltown, and this is where those houses were located when the explosion occurred in 1952.